While acknowledging that in the last 5 years, FDI has declined by about 86%, and we've had about 20 multinational companies exit or scale down, the three priority areas that I would work on to align with the existing and ongoing policies, if confirmed by this hallowed chamber, would be investment retention and attraction, boosting exports and foreign exchange earnings, and creating productive jobs through vibrant domestic industry. Recent efforts by His Excellency, Mr. President, in his capacity as Chief Investment Officer of the Economy, has yielded some tangible results, and there's a key role of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and NIPC, an agency under it, $1 billion pledges from Indian investors for steel development, petrochemicals, power, and more. And a year later, on September 6, 2024, Jindal Steel Africa committed $3 billion to Nigeria's steel industry on the back of the ongoing economic reforms. So retaining domestic investment and deepening these reforms will help attract even more foreign direct investment. That was the first question, and that's really what we need to do, to stay the course and to deepen and quicken our reforms. Another example I'll touch on quickly is Outsource Global, a service company that is currently receiving technical assistance from colleagues in the Office of the Vice President. They have an initiative focused on exporting IT services and delivering, which are being delivered by young Nigerians living in Nigeria on a global scale. So they're earning foreign exchange while living at home. And I was asked the question about how do we create jobs, and are we going to continue to import? We are exporters of services. One of the most important things that needs to be done is collaboration, coordination of ministries, departments, agencies, regulators, and infrastructure to jointly strive towards improving competitiveness in energy supply, to support our productivity and competitiveness of our businesses. I have a proven track record on being able to collaborate across all arms and levels of government. Indeed, with the 8th National Assembly, in attracting capital for and credit for small and medium-sized enterprises. The National Assembly passed the Collateral Bill, which is the Secured Credits and Transactions, which enabled the central bank to have legal instrument to have a collateral registry nationwide that enables banks and microcredit institutions to lend to more small businesses. Another area would be the supporting of free trade zones and special economic zones to enhance operational efficiency. They're very important for manufacturing investments to come into Nigeria and promoting localized production. Nigeria has 55 licensed free trade zones currently contributing to the GDP, but there's a lot more, and significant jobs can be produced by that. The second thing in the area of trade, boosting exports so that we can earn more foreign exchange. As we support MSMEs and larger enterprises to access markets, collaborating with stakeholders to increase exports, supporting them practically and tangibly, Nigerian Export Promotion Council leads this charge, and there's a lot more that can be done. Even the silver lining in leveraging the current FX rate is an opportunity to deepen exports, because our goods are currently cheaper for exports and also cheaper for domestic consumption. So it's an opportunity for all of us to buy Nigerian, to support Nigerian businesses and consume what is made in Nigeria. That will create jobs and encourage these businesses and make sure they stay in business. Another example is working with the PEREC experience, working with over 53 ministries, departments, and agencies at the federal level. One example that comes to mind is partnering with Nigerian Customs Service on delivering reforms with ease of doing business. by making sure that the trade facilitation is continued to be improved. The Nigerian Customs Service leadership recently launched the Authorized Economic Operator Program, which enhances trade facilitation, and recently accepted and agreed to include the PEBEC Business Champions, the Platinum PEBEC Business Champions, which are 23 businesses that earn over $1 billion per annum in revenue, into the next cohort in Q1 of 2025. This will ameliorate existing difficulties within supply chain and strengthen Nigerian exports promotion in the global community. Another key area will be the African Continental Free Trade Area, supporting businesses to export high-quality products. Having jobs is not enough. We need jobs that are productive. We need jobs that have a higher level of income for Nigerians. And services is another good opportunity, as I already spoke on. We need to align with global standards and regulations so that our goods seamlessly cross our borders and we can earn the dollars that we so desperately need. We can plug into global value chains. An example, I would name one. There's an EU deforestation regulation which mandates that producers or suppliers of goods originating from countries outside the EU must prove that they're not from recently deforested lands or are not contributing to forest degradation. Now, this regulation is coming to effect at the end of 2024, and the regulation impacts commodities critical to Nigeria's economy, including coke, which constitute 9.3% of Nigeria's non-oil fuel exports to the European Union. Without compliance, the impact of this will be to put Nigerian exporters in that agricultural space at risk, especially the cocoa industry that contributes about 70% of Nigeria's agricultural exports to the EU. They'll be at immediate risk. So those are some of the things that need to be addressed promptly. I can.
Oh, are you true?
No, sir, but...
because you were interrupted. Continue. I'm listening to you.
Okay.
Nigerians are listening to you. The global community is listening to you.
Thank you very much.
So forget the man who is telling you it's okay. He wants to go and eat.
I appreciate the opportunity. The third thing will be to create productive jobs through vibrant domestic industry. And I spoke about the need for high-value productive jobs, effective regulatory reforms and ease of doing business, not to vie in that direction because I've worked on that for the last 9 years, but to say that that is a pivotal area that would allow Nigerians, for example, focusing on AFCFTA to align Nigerian companies to access a $3.4 trillion African market of 55 countries with a population of 1.3 billion people. We will create jobs, we will expand our workforce capacity by doing this. To touch on regulatory reforms and why they're so important, the mandate of the Council that I've had the privilege of leading the intervention for the last 8 years focuses on people issues, processes, and to a lesser extent, infrastructure, specifically the cost and speed of doing business and transparency. Currently, distinguished Senator Sadiq Umar, representing Kwara North, and the chair of Senate Committee on Trade and Investment, he's the current representative of the 10th National Assembly on the Presidential Enabling Business Council. And together, that council, the members of that council, have continued to work on 5 key areas: legislative reforms, of which the 9th National Assembly also passed the Business Facilitation Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 2022 on precedent reforms. The 8th and then the 9th National Assembly also passed reenacted the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, which had not been overhauled in 3 decades. The impact of these was a 70% reduction in business regulation times and an increase in formal MSME regulations, which also contributes to the revenue of the federal government. So regulatory reforms is another key area. We've worked on transparency, efficiency, things like visa on arrival, to ease the entry of, for instance, you can have a business meeting on Monday in Switzerland.
Distinguished ministerial nominee, you are talking about the things you have done already. What the Senate wanted to hear are the things you are going to do. Because we are saying that things can get better with your coming as a minister. You understand? So if you focus more on the things you have done in the past, we will not be too impressed. We want to know the things you are going to do to make things much, much better based on your experience and resume. So I would suggest that you collate most of the things that you heard, the questions, the comments, and the advice. Put them together to go and use those things when you are in the office as working tools. You understand? To commence the reforms you are going to put in place to revitalize the sector in the area of trade and investment. I must say that you've done very well. I offered you a seat, and you said no, that you don't want the seat. So if you fall, it's not the fault of the Senate President, because I done my part. And then, just before I put the question, I noticed you've done a lot of publications. On your page 4, you publish a journal in the private and property law journal, International Trade Disputes Remedies, How Equitable for Africa. Those were your thoughts.
Yes, sir.
And you went further to publish WTO Special